Good day everyone. For today, we are going to tackle about administrative strategies in multi-grade schools, particularly in making use of alternative resources. The administrative strategies to support multi-grade schools include training of teachers through workshops, provision of resources, looking for donors, and etc. A teacher may make use of outside help by attending workshops on subject-related matters or on matters regarding management of multi-grade classroom and other related workshops. A teacher may make use of outside help by conducting other multi-grade teachers from other schools to share their knowledge and expertise in multi-grade teaching. A teacher who experiences a problem of high rate failure among his or her learners, for example, may visit other neighboring schools or other schools in the region that have a good record in the academic performance of learners. The intention is to share the mechanisms being employed by these schools that enable their learners to excel in their studies. A teacher in particular or a school in general may also make use of external help by looking for donors to assist multi-grade classrooms in many different ways, like to provide infrastructures and other relevant materials related to multi-grade classrooms. A schedule helps the teacher to manage the class and available time better. It helps the multi-grade teacher to develop lessons with a variety of teaching strategies. An example of a schedule is given. It is based on a class that is divided into 3 groups but could be adapted for fewer or more groups. It is obvious that a combined class of students differs a lot from the conventional type of a student class of a single grade. That means that the way that the students of the multi-grade class should be taught must be different as well. It is true that the function of the teacher in the multi-grade classroom is multidimensional, or to be more accurate, it is much more complicated and demanding than the role of the teacher in the monograde school, respectively. This is the main subject of the MUSE or the MUSE project, to assist teacher professionals to be able to work effectively in the multi-grade school environment and be trained on teaching in different ways, referring to the multi-grade classroom. For children to learn effectively in multi-grade environments, teachers need to be well-trained, well-resourced, and hold positive attitudes to multi-grade teaching. Multi-grade teaching in many views represents a more demanding teaching situation, and special attention should be given to it. However, many teachers in multi-grade environments are either untrained or trained in monograde pedagogy, have few teaching and learning resources, and regard the multi-grade classroom as a poor cousin of the better resource monograde urban schools that are staffed by trained teachers. In addition, at the majority of the case, the multi-grade teachers are very young without significant experience, or they chosen by the state to teach at the specific rural areas. These teachers are left alone without resources and support to handle the demanding multi-grade classes. The former has serious negative impact on teachers' psychology and attitude towards the multi-grade class, and affects in a negative way their teaching performance. The effect should be focused by the educational authorities to reverse the teachers' negative view for multi-grade teaching and the rural school, and provide them with the resources and support to be able to overcome any difficulties. Teachers should attend special training programs before introduce themselves at the multi-grade classroom and try to adjust to their multi-dimensional role as multi-grade teachers. A training program like MUSE or MUSE project, which represents an effort to address the specialized needs of the multi-grade school teachers, ought first of all to record and analyze the multiple role that these teachers possess in the multi-grade class. Multi-grade teacher training is almost close to non-existent here in the Philippines, with the universities and colleges just offering a semester for this kind of subject. It is easy to overlook and to not take multi-grade teaching seriously. Now, let's proceed with how the teachers in multi-grade classrooms manage and use available resources in their classrooms. According to this study, it is important for the teachers to know what available resources they can access for use in their multi-grade classrooms. However, they should also familiarize themselves with what resources are available for multi-grade type classrooms globally so that they can aspire to procure them. Teachers should organize the available resources in ways that this will be easily accessible to learners and also to facilitate their own teaching strategies. And teachers should be able to use the available resources effectively or develop strategies on how to use existing resources optimally in their multi-grade classrooms. Inadequate classroom space in multi-grade classrooms leads to overcrowding. Textbooks in multi-grade classrooms were insufficient. A lack of such resources in multi-grade classrooms is attributed to the neglect of such schools. In some of these schools, learners shared textbooks, but at some other schools, all learners had textbooks. A major challenge that still exists is that the textbooks used are meant for monograde classrooms. Learners in multi-grade classrooms share resources. Even if we do have textbooks, they are little, they are not enough. That is why we encourage group working so that they work in groups so that the resources we have can be enough for all of them when they share. Most of the things we share actually, all classrooms had reading corners where learners could read individually only one at a time in some cases. Multi-grade classrooms must have reading corners to allow learners to read individually. In addition, there should be a space that can serve as the classroom library where learners can access the materials they need to learn from. The reading corners were used for independent learning. That's why it is very important. The learners used the reading corners to read for leisure. Leisure reading and included old newspapers and magazines that the teacher had organized. After independent reading, learners often reported to the teacher individually on what they had read about. This encouraged the learners to read with understanding and retention. Learners use reading corners for individual learning and group work. The availability of resources has improved somewhat in the multi-grade classrooms. However, textbooks specifically meant for multi-grade classrooms are still lacking. There are points to several other trends. For example, most multi-grade classrooms is insufficient resources or have insufficient resources. Where available, the resources are either underutilized or used improperly. Furthermore, it is usually the case that the learners are required to share resources across various grades. Moreover, teachers often use their personal resources to get their work done, and in this regard, smartphones play an important part. All in all, teachers do try to use various types of resources to cater for different learning styles. So that is our discussion for today, and thank you for listening.